Hello, everybody. Welcome to, after a long while, another episode of Storyteller's Worldbuilding. My name is Jan Warak, aka Storyteller or Storyteller CZ. I'm the founder of Liter Universe. And today it's going to be a bit different. I won't be building my universe, or maybe I will, depends on how much time we'll get. But I've kind of wanted to go on this topic, which is storytelling and worldbuilding in the age of AI, which has many question marks, many opportunities, many dangers. And I kind of want to have here more of a stream of consciousness and to think about the different possibilities, options, and let's just say other things that might come out of this. And to start of all, I'm going to use AI to kind of give us suggestions, potential topics for discussion or talk, and also to really check my bias here as well. Because, of course, as everybody else, I'm in a bubble, and we need to make sure that we are not, that I have more opportunities. So let me start sharing this as I type this prompt. Putting the prompt correctly is going to be, there we go. Can actually enjoy myself in a larger screen as I started out. So what is the future of storytelling, which in this case I mean writing stories and books, and world building for large literary universes, sci-fi and fantasy mostly, in the age of AI. That is the initial questions, or initial question. And I kind of want to give a bit more information here, or more parameters, so that I don't get just the usual cookie cutter answer that you would probably get anywhere else, or so that we have a bit more information. So make an analysis. Oh, and by the way, for the model, I think we want GPT-5 reasoning. I have the credits, so let's use them. Let's go for high reasoning. Make an analysis of the current, and this is the question, because of the current market, but in which country? Because a lot of the countries have many differences. For example, the Czech market is still very traditional. There's a lot of publishers, so getting published is not an issue. So it's not. So we have to be more specific here as well for this. So of the current English and international market as a whole, take into account, and let me just do a few more. Let's see, what I want to do is, let me get a new window where I'm going to get some of my, kind of want to look at, I want to look at a few of the people I follow and see where, because I kind of want to have their opinion analyzed as well, partially to see kind of if I can continue to follow them. And let's see. So we have this guy that I find to be in there, and actually also my Substack. There we go. This one. So take into account the in the market, which seems to be, and this is my observation, that it kind of seems to be getting more and more into echo chambers. Seems to be, or not echo chambers, but like getting in their own silos. Seems to be thriving, while established publishers. And these are also, I am in, given the focus on world building, I am particularly interested in the sci-fi and let's do this like that, and fantasy genres for this analysis. Seem to be trying well. Established publishers have focused on romantasy and now seem to be struggling to attract male readership, and their business seems to be hurting. This is my assumption. Please check for data to support or disprove. That's the correct spelling. Disprove. For the more indie side, consider reporting from these sources, but double check for opposing views. And here I'm going to kind of share some of the people that I have been kind of checking out, which some of them have been, some of them could be pretty pretty controversial, to say the least. So fandom polls, probably not so much. But now I need to actually, let's see. There is, I haven't used this in a while, is the X Pro or something like that. How do I get in? This thing, yeah, maybe. I did have, like a while back, I did put in all the different writers and other things that I follow, but let's see if I can find, because it's, let me just double check here, and feel free to kind of, comment and add in your opinions as we go. Oh wait, there she was. There she is, Kristen. That's another person I follow. I think she might be behind the fandom polls, but let me double check here. Is it fictional influence? Oh, so it's a different one. So fictional influence, that's from her. Maybe it's just another branding. Who knows? But let's put that in. And then I have like a few other people, but they're kind of in a similar vein. And facts. Keep when analyzing current status, keep to facts as much as possible and clearly indicate opinions and conjectures. I want the truth and best projection, even if it disagrees with my assumptions. So topics to look at is the current status of the publishing industry, and let's just put this English publishing or English speaking. Remember that we are focusing on the sci-fi and fantasy genres and subgenres. English speaking literature history as dire as shown and projected. So that's the first thing that we want to know. Okay, is it really as bad as some people are putting it? Because that is a common thing that you can fall into. So next, with the increase of in the authors, is that something that we can expect to continue, and what will be the impact on publishers and authors? That's another big one, and it just reminds me I'm looking for there's a new it's like a new, I think it's art or something like that, but it's been seen them I've seen them, they just kind of started out, and I've let me actually check it. Should have really on my Literary Universe channel, I will have a link to them, I'm guessing somewhere. Oh, it's Arc Press. That's what they are. That's what they are about. Let me get there. Over here. So So what it will be this, given the decreasing attention spans, is it likely that the trend is going to revert or stay the same? What will be the impact on genre writers as a result? So I think that's kind of the big question, what with all the decreasing attention span, decreasing readership, all that stuff, how is that going to impact that? And let's see, what of a role is AI currently playing in writing and creating large fictional or creating fictional literature and it's world building. I think this one is always forgetting all the different, because there's just so many platforms now compared to say like 10 years ago, especially where I got started with Literary Universe. There was almost nothing. It's just so many, I'm kind of losing really track. World building, what are the likely / expected expected future changes? Pursue any related interesting topics that come along with your research based on the initial question. So let's get this sorted out. Let's get it sent there. And I'm going to send another one to Grok so that we have, let's see. I'm right now on the expert, not on the beta one. So let's put that in as well, so we have more of a analysis as well as a secondary hand. And let's see, do we want like another model, or is there another model that you guys would like me to check into as these things run? And also in the meantime, you can also, or I would especially love to hear, what are your opinions on the main topic? And let me just create the banner here. What do you think is the future of storytelling and world building in the age of AI? And let me actually change that comment so that we have that going. So while we get the super smart, you could say super smart brains here to get us their answer. And I am going to move this over here and change the screen sharing a bit so that we have those. Let's do an entire window, or yeah, our screen. Is this going to work? Okay, this works. Perfect. So we can see both of them working. I'm going to increase the font so that it's kind of working for all of them. Okay, so since GPT-5 started earlier, it already has an answer, so it's concise. Let's take a look on that, and let's see, where should I move to? Oh, yeah, it's not visible well enough, so I'll kind of hide here. Let's see. Let me quickly grab. Something to drink. I'll get myself a tea, something sweet, as we wait for a grog, and then we'll quickly jump to. We'll jump to the results and answer, and then kind of continue from there to see where my assumptions were. Can get started early here. I'll just leave things. Oh no, Grog has erred on us. Let's retry. So we'll stick with the open with GPT-5. Guys, is there like any model that we should consider here as well? Maybe Gemini to see what Google thinks. Okay, let me just quickly grab some tea and I'll be back. All right, I got myself some green tea. And let's see. So let's look at the executive summary. Oh no, look at that. Grok is not having a good time with this. Let's give him one more try and see what we can. But let's see. What do we have here from ChatGPT? The English language trade book market is not not dire overall in the US. 24 trade revenue grew, and print units ended 20 roughly flat to ups versus 23, which without fiction led by fantasy driving the gains. So that's an interesting adjustment, but makes sense, of course, if you add romance porn together and into fantasy, then the women are going to buy it. Okay, let me see if maybe a new window is going to work here. So SFF, which stands for Science Fiction Fantasy Search in 2024, adult fantasy was up dramatically. Again, that's romantasy. I just had a word for that. Publisher week report was 85% in each one versus each one 23, propelled by romantasy. Again, what I said. Adult SF also grew. Big publishers are not collapsing. Penguin House report records revenue. Problem with the big publishers is that they have a lot of other general market things. So maybe I need to kind of fix that query there a little bit more. That shows digital audio as the fastest growing format. Audio goes booming. The UK and other English language markets show the same shape. Growth led by romantasy, book talk, strong audio, and soft spot in children's. Interesting. Indie is thriving, especially in SFF subgenres that skew male, which makes sense. Publishers focus more on female audiences, so they don't have that many. So male readers go and find their indie authors. Expect indie market exact market share remains hard to measure, but multiple indicators point to continued momentum. Romantasy dominates in mainstream. Frontlists can make trans SF look narrow, but the male readership is abandoned. The narrative is overstated. Many male king SF niches are simply concentrated in indie, KU audio, and serial platforms rather than the big five frontlist. Well, that kind of confirms my point, though. The mainstream is no longer serving the male readership. Attention is bifurcated, not collapsing. Short form discovery and long form consumption coexist. Audio and bingeable series sustain very long attention window. AI will reshape world-building process and production economics more than it will replace successful authors. The winners will treat AI as infrastructure, canon management, continuity, translation, audio, and co-creation tooling. Is the English language version industry in dire projected? Conclusion, the industry is mixed by segment, not dire. But I think that's kind of confirmed in that that they're just focusing, the main players focusing on romantasy, and the other authors are kind of leaving unless they are already like super well established, so that they are fine. So indie search will continue, and what's the impact? Facts, we've kind of, I think, read it. Opinions, continuation likely. AI tooling, subscription ecosystem, serial platforms, Railroad, Web Novel, and DTC, all lower friction. Expect more hybrid authors and continued indie capture of specific SFF niches. Progression fantasy, late RPG, military sci-fi, cozy fantasy. Cozy fantasy. Okay, that's interesting. Impact on publisher. Big houses double down on brand authors. Deluxe special edition. I don't see that with big publishers. See more in the large scale retail positioning. They will scout successful indies and buy rights for print first, audio first, and media adaptation. Midlist pressure continues. Authors, more opportunity, more competition. Discoverability is the constraint. This is the big one. Data-driven marketing and release cadence discipline become decisive. So note on the user assumption, my readership. Romantasy growth is real and front of stores. Spring bestseller, adult fantasy in its search, partly due to romantasy. Most SF niches are thriving in the audiobook segments. Many of these series release rapidly, are long, and monetize heavily in audio and subscription. There isn't clear, broad-based evidence that publishers are losing male readers across SFF. Rather, male readers concentrating channels publishers see less clearly, while publishers have emphasized romantasy where book talk and front of store placement deliver large, reliable volumes. The market is segmented segmenting by channel and subgenre, not collapsing. That's an interesting result. But I think as a result as well, some, especially the smaller ones, will collapse, especially when it comes to those that cater more, or I would say this is kind of ironic, or maybe not. Those that actually cater more to the male readership, because given how the big ones are producing romantasy and similar genres, uh, then I would say the male readership would be like, okay, there's nothing really for me in a bookstore, so I won't go, which will then negatively impact other publishers who do have books that are for those genres, or for those readers. So that's going to be big of a problem. So what we see here, what I'm kind of seeing here, but let's continue a little bit, and what is suggested here. Let me just see. Yeah, the market is segmenting by channel and subgenre, not collapsing. So we see a realignment when we have new technologies, and I think as a result we'll see some companies really struggle. Probably there's going to be a bit of a cleaning, especially if we hit any issues in the general economy. There's like some recession or something like that that's going to clear out a lot of these struggling publishers, or even like small operations a lot of the times. So attention spans, screen competition is intense, but longer sub-series audiobooks show sustained engagement. Multi-book binges, 30 plus 60 hours audio epics. Short platform drive discovery, not necessarily short reading. Many readers discover via short video and then binge long series in audio ebook. So I think this is something that, well, let me actually start making notes. So shorts equals discovery, which then goes into long form. So what I'm seeing here is that having like a trailer for a book is going to be a necessity, which, yeah, we have the Literary Universe that you can add in trailer for your book. So I think we'll have to look more into what we can do in that. And there's the book talk, and so from what I've heard, book talk is very much romantasy focused. So we'll see. Long form plus audio. So audiobooks are becoming a necessity, which, well, that's annoying for me. We do have audiobooks on our roadmap for Literary Universe, but it's not it's not easy or cheap to make that happen. And I'm just talking about the hosting and management of that, not the creation process. We can help with the creation process with AI tools and everything, but that's never going to really beat high quality voice actor, or like any voice actor that is engaged with the story and with what's happening. So expect the durable bifurcation. Discover and community short form, high frequency content. Consumption, bingeable long form. Release infrequent, modular installment. And I saw this the frequent releases. That's a big one. It's kind of also this kind of tangent a bit. This kind of makes me think about In general, 'cause there's so much focus to get our attention that I'm kind of worried that we are just focusing on all these entertainment, politics, and then we have work, and where's the rest of life that we can have there. So uh I'm worried it might be too much trying to focus on all of us. So that's definitely like I'm worried that kind of is coming out of that. Implication for SSI structure series into short arcs within large meta plot seasons and 60 to 90k chunks, omnibuses later. Um, what I'm thinking here, this kind of goes to 60,000. Let's just say it's words, not chunks. 60 to 90,000 words. That's a nice book, and this kind of goes to what I've seen from, for example, like in general, like series. Though I have to say that let's I think the continuation of diplomacy and the following series or the Central Imperium are definitely like the books are much longer than just 60,000 words. Uh, but I think 60,000 words for an arc is a good one, and can have like two or three. If you have like three or so arcs around this limit, then you have pretty nice sizable book. So if you kind of like resolve the main things in those two or three archers or story archers arcs, then that in itself can be like a book, and then you kind of become create like a new one continuation from that, or you can just keep it in that one huge novel, and you have like omnibuses that kind of chapter from this to this and then go on. But I think kind of having like nice arches would be very nice. So optimize pacing and chapter hooks without sacrificing depth. Parallel audio releases to catch commuting and gym time. So that's where a lot of this extra attention comes in, commuting and gym time, or similar activities that where you can just plug it in, or for example cooking, eating. So if we kind of put in or if we like can plug into that, then that doesn't take that much time from other things. So let's see. Maintain and always on community loop, Discord, Substack, Patreon between launches. Yucks. That's a lot of extra work. If we just like Discord, then that's fine. And you can have like this universe as well. Let me just add it here. I think we do have on our timeline for Literary Universe like connection into Discord communities. So we'll have to just see if we can expedite that. So AI's current and future role in writing and worldbuilding, facts, policies. Amazon KDP institute daily upload caps and requires AI content disclosures. We have the same thing, but we don't have caps. But it's not a worry for us right now. Many magazines and contests restrict AI generated text art. Publishers are setting provenance rules. So in general, it's not going to be there. But at the same time, we do have a big section or section for AI created works. And if AI competes in that bracket, then it's, I would say, fair game. Legal licensing, major news publishing groups sign licensing deals with AI companies, push towards transparency. Another big thing is, when it comes to licensing, who retains the right. And Literary Universe, we maintain that you cannot publish AI work and for it to be copyrighted. Though we might have to, and that's primarily also because the output at the beginning wasn't any good, but we might be able to, if you have quality AI generated works that you put in a lot of effort and everything, then reach out to us and we can probably do something, figure out something that makes sense if the quality is there. So authors use LLMs for ideation. Yes, that's what I do. Outlining, not really. That's something that I really keep mostly for myself. But I want to kind of do more outlining. So, and I kind of see. I'll try to plug it into AI and see what it will tell me, and for some new ideas. Synopsis variants, yes. Gonna ask AI. Mostly it's like, hey, check this for grammar and give me your opinion on these things. Beat sheets, tone passes, synopsis to blur, copy edits, image models for concept art, AI voices for temporary audio, and some retail platforms, commercial audio. I would say also one thing that's missing here is translations. Audio trade, digital audio revenue is surging. Platforms like Google Play support AI narration options in certain markets. Human narrated remains premium for front lists. So that's that. So here we have, let me see if we have, some Grok will create like an essay. So we'll have to check into that and compare with that. So opinion conjectures in short term, I will become standard for world Bible operation. That's where we are heading as well in the universe. So we have 12 to 24 months. Okay, I'll have to get on, guys, to start working towards this. Extracting, updating canon timelines, glossaries, maps, and querying lore for continuity. Yes. Hybrid editing, human developmental editors with AI assistant consistency and line editing diagnostics. Translations, as I mentioned, human in the loop, but it will be kind of cost-effective entry into German, French, Spanish, Brazilian, Portuguese with audio follow-ons using clone voices where permitted. Audiobooks, AI narration expands for a blacklist, backlist, midlist, and translation. Premium human narration remains medium term 2 to 5 years. Agentic canon guardians, LMM's agents that continuously parse new drafts, flag contradictions versus the new series Bible, and propose fixes with citations to prior volumes. Personalized branching experiences remain niche for books, but may flourish in companion apps for serialized platforms. So it's kind of like choose your own adventure, and the AI is going to generate the story with adherence to the canon. I think that can be very interesting. I think we'll probably see, as it says, in 2 to 5 years, we'll see first experiments. And that might be interesting. I might want to try, once I develop my universe a bit more, I might want to try something like that. Provenance. Larger retailers and publishers adopt content authenticity signals, C2PA, okay. And explicit disclosure workflows. So it will be much more clear in that. International is relevant to SFF. As for UK, Romantic grows, audio adoption high, Europe, Nordic/Germany, strong audio ecosystem, SFF thrives in subscription audio. like really moving to audio. Interesting. East Asia, web novel, webtoons ecosystem around China and Korea continues to influence Western series formats. Yes, power leveling tropes and progression arcs cross pollinate. Got really too much. Translations, assisted translation lowers barrier for Western authors entering into Germany, and for import of Asian SSF stuff into English, and that's going to be huge. So the ones that I kind of focus on are useful for sentiment, tactics, and niche reporting on indie fandom shifts. They often assert that Legacy House overweight, romanticizing, neglect male genres, treat these as hypotheses. Broad market data show mainstream trade and Big Five are financially healthy and overall. Not really what I was asking there, because that makes sense. The Big Five are too many genres and everything, so that even if there is an issue in one, then it's just an annoying bleep on on their monitors at the best. So at least 2048 are not supported. We'll see how all the other politics and economical things will impact that. What AI is good at? No. Canon extraction and querying, consistency checking, variant generation, companion content, accelerating spin-offs, translation audio, a practical low risk pipeline. So it even provided here a Python code. Okay, that's hilarious. I like a sample how it could look like. So interesting. So the Canon, check, compare. It's like also very high level, all high level stuff that's kind of common. And then there are recommendation, which I will be looking at later. Where your answer to a specific question summarized. That already is covered. So where your assumptions stood: established publishing focusing on fantasy and hurting, struggling to attract male readership. But right about emphasis, romances capture disproportionate front of store attention. But it's well back, thanks to that, the publishers are not hurting. So male leading SFS is a robust content indie. Not sure what KU stands for in audio. Interesting. I think we can then, kind of use this and have that in our setup. I just need to get my Liter Universe administration going. That's just like one thing that I have broken up. That's why I was late. I was trying to fix that. So let me get here Japan. This is Nippon from Germany. Mm-hmm. We get something sweet to the green tea. So this was actually not really that far from what I expected. It really did not understand what I was getting at with romantasy and similar. Apologies, that was a bit too much. So, I'm just quickly skimming here from Grok, but so far it seems to be be very similar to what was said here. Yeah, Indies reward for speed and savvy warns it's hard to profit with publishers exposing low margins. For authors, Indie offers flexibility and higher earnings, but increases competition and requires business skills. I think that's a big important. It's an interesting projection. Growth continues with indies capturing 50 to 60% of the ebook sales by 2030. That's massive. Which will be fragmenting the markets but empowering creators. Oh, wow. So, same. So for this, stays the same or worsen short-term publishing genre writers towards hybrid storytelling to sustain world building. So that's like another thing, that there's going to be much more emphasis on the hybrid part. And so in that case, yeah, just for new writers coming in and just producing a good book, it's not good enough, not even close. Which we have to be good marketer and do all the other things around, which something we'll try with Letter Universe to minimize for you as much possible, but it's not something that will be able to replace. But I think what I want to kind of get to is to have the AI tools and everything else in there, so that you can go to AI, say, here's my story, please prepare the marketing and everything, and you can then plug into what we have as well. I think if we can kind of provide that, would be a big game changer. So roles of AI writing, that's the big one. AI is assistive, that's future changes. AI integration will deepen with trend stories with creation. Projection includes AI flooding markets, which is already happening with AI slop. But quality human AI blends could revitalize large universes. Ethical debates persist, with some viewing it as a theft, others as a tool. Yeah, I think we will have to revisit our AI policy in the coming years as well. Summary: the future sci-fi certainly favors adaptable indies leveraging AI for short formats, while traditional evolves amid readership shifts. Projections align with growth in niches, not your dire assumptions. Thank God. That's always positive to see that my dire assumptions are not what's suggested here, but changes like attention and polarization loom. I think it can still be dire, but my opinion has changed here is that say the traditional ones are just going to focus on romantasy and all the other say slop genres, but that make the money because just the female and general readership is going to buy it, which is overall loss to humanity. But the indie are going to grow, and people will probably eventually get more hungry for something better. It's like you cannot survive or you're not, not going to, you're going to die quickly if you if you eat just fast food. uh, Having it once in a while is completely fine, but if you have it, as your main diet, then you're fucked. And that applies, to a lot of things in life. There isn't just a silver bullet for anything. It's a lot of the traditional things are going to struggle. What I kind of want to get with Literary Universe, and maybe we'll have to do a pivot here with Literary Universe, because right now it's a platform, and that's kind of how I want to say it, because there's a power in being a platform if you already have people in there. But maybe for indie authors, given how much they want to keep themselves and everything, we might not just have to, right now, like with universe pages and all the other stuff, might just have to create a system that would be super easy to deploy on their own machines and servers, and kind of run themselves, and they could then connect back to a Literary Universe, so that they can benefit to the platforms, but they kind of keep the big things themselves and have things on their website. That's something I've been considering for years. It's just the issue still is that requires technical know-how, and at least a little bit of a cash to have ready to go to kind of spend on this. And then you still have to kind of pay something to the pay gate. But other than that, once you have that, then you don't have to pay extra, for example, to the platform or anything like that. But my opinion on this kind of changed. That it's good to support people who make software like that as much as possible. So that's when a lot of the hosting we host on the official solutions, so it supports the development of the software that we use. So that's kind of where we are at. So what I'm thinking. So the future, and as I was thinking even before this, one of the things that it confirmed is that there is going to be, or there is currently, the assistant feature, and AI assistants, and that is going to continue. AI is writing themselves stories, I think, is going to become more and more, or we have that already with AI slop. So that is still not going anywhere, but there is going to be much more focus on kind of mixing those two together. More human impact, and in addition, having the AI first as kind of say the Lord Guardian, and eventually maybe as a assistant writer, or kind of making spin-offs on its own and then being checked by the human author. One of the authors I follow here, which was mentioned as John Del Arroz, he said that he had a pen name for his AI creation, and he said that for him what really works well is that he writes 10,000 words himself, and then kind of gives it to the AI with the outline, and it's really good at kind of finishing up the story. And I think I want to try something like that myself. I've gotten the big, the open source model, or whatever it is, from ChatGPT, the big one, like 250 billion parameters or something like that. So maybe that one might be good enough. And that's like another issue, is because a lot of these universes are, especially like in sci-fi fantasy like mine, are going to have a lot of entries, a lot of information. So a lot of these models won't be able to really store them. So we'll have to maybe figure out, who knows, maybe even train our own model, train our own model to for that. So that's that's something to explore in the future in that aspect. So again, going back summary again, what I've learned is that it's not as dire as it might look by some people, or how people might get, especially with us. I'm not really thinking, but yeah, but by having kind of looking at things sometimes, and seeing how all the AI slop, uh, and yeah, that's something that happens. So we have to be careful with that. But the good thing is, at least the numbers right now don't, for the big publishers. I think though, for smaller publishers, we've already seen that they're kind of struggling, and it's going to be an issue for sure. I'm not. I am. I think that's going to happen, especially because eventually, there is going to be some general economical recession or realignment. So a lot of the companies, and not just like in publishing, but in general, are going to get swept away, and that's kind of what we have to look or be aware. So that's going to definitely happen at some point in time. That's it's just a matter of when, not if. So that's going to realign things, and I think that's going to, one, it's going to really get out companies that are not ready for, say, the new transitions, and who are not healthy. Um, so it will kind of reduce the market, which in a way reduces the competition. So things will get afterwards, after it's actually a bit easier once things stabilize. Downside is that it will also mean that people will focus on, you might say, slop, or things that will generate, that will be for sure generate income. So Romantas is probably going to search in that. On the other side, if I'm be more positive, then maybe not. Maybe people won't be interested in buying Slop or Romantasy, because they will want something that is more fulfilling than those titles. That just maybe I'm optimistic here. So that is when it comes to the companies. The good thing is, then we have also the rise of the indie, because given how the big publisher have shifted, and will probably continue shifting, the indie is going to rise to fulfill the niche markets. Again, though, that means almost everybody is going to go in there and publish their books. So what it's going to change to, or what the game is really going to become then, is well, first of all, do you have something that's a good story that will always kind of be there. But even if you have a good story, if you cannot sell it, and nobody knows about it, then that will be an ongoing issue that have to be resolved. And I think that's one thing I've kind of learned, especially as I grew, because a lot of time in the past was build it and they will come, and I've learned the hard way that's not that's not the case. It's a lot of marketing, a lot of hard work to tell people that it exists and that they should use it and convince them to do that. But I do hope that people will be more willing to kind of go into subscriptions and supporting artists. It depends a lot on the economy and on other approaches as well of people, how things are going to change. The problem with the internet and online is it's not that much problem until somebody makes it a problem, is that what you're like, if you get it online or in electronic form, you are not really owning it. You only get like a license to do that. And I've talked for hours with lawyers about this. How can we make this, to give the readers more of a control in this? We do have mechanisms in the universe to protect readers and their access to the stories that they have bought. And we have strong rules that for example, authors cannot go in and erase everything and just add sentence by this over here and publish that as a new revision, especially when it comes to stories that have been sold already. That's just not possible as in rules, and we will, once reported, revert it to the previous one and log the author for making any further changes. So because we also have that's the rules that they agree to when they publish with us. So we do have protections like that. I'm trying to also figure out other technologies like blockchain to ensure that you have always the story available in some sort of way. So even if Literary Universe dies, then the story will be still available in somewhere. But anyway, with the electronic, that's like one thing, and nothing is permanent. So that's another thing that I think we will see much bigger rise of collector's editions and signed books. So I think the future of traditional publishing will switch from okay, here's just a paperback and we'll just print millions of them and send them out, and that's kind of it. I think people will be much more discerning, and we kind of go full circle back to the beginning of the printing press, where the first or the things that were printed in the book format, the first thing actually was printed was a luxury Bible. I think it was like 10 of them or so that he printed, and that would have been enough to recoup all the costs of actually making the printing press. So that is, I think that's kind of where we are going to eventually end up. That we'll get luxury books with the author's signature and whatnot, maybe, and some other merchandising that's going to really fuel the more successful authors, and the slop and other details will be, or like the smaller ones will be will kind of be relegated to online, which is going to be also ecological, because you don't really want to print so much books and use so much paper on something that you don't just read once and then throw out. So that's kind of how I see it. AI, as I mentioned, assistant. Sometimes it will write books. The interesting thing here, what was the emphasis was on audiobooks and translations, which I kind of expected, but not to such a degree that it was here. And really, the audiobook format has really grown. On the downside of that, I did see reporting of people who have graduated high school with being illiterate, and what they do is are pretty much audiobooks. So they have like a mobile phone, they scan the paper that comes before them. Uh, it will read it back to them, and then they will tell the phone what is the answers. And yeah, I'm sure they can it's like very strange to me how someone today in America can be illiterate finishing high school, just because they relied on these technologies. I think that particular person was a report because they got into Harvard or something insane like that. So that's like a worry that we forget how to read, and that's coming from me, a dyslexic who has problems reading. You have probably noticed that on the AI that it was the font was a bit strange. That was the open dyslexic font. Actually, let me bring it back up to stage. So let me go here. So you can see the font is a little bit strange here, not the usual one that we can see on the left from X, and that's because this is open dyslexic font. Let's see, can I? It's probably like better here to see here. Let's see customization. Yeah, open dyslexic. Compare that to the default ones, and that makes it a bit easier for me to read. Let's see. Let's go with the default there. So yeah, that's yeah, we need to read more. We need to read and write more. We are kind of really in interesting times, or living in interesting times, in good and the bad, what it entails. So those have been kind of my stream of consciousness about the future of storytelling, world building. So in the future, and not so distant future, I think it's like a year or two, if you are an author, or in this case indie author, you need to write your story. It's going to be serialized story, so you will have to periodically publish, constantly on a set schedule. You will have to have with that. You will have to have like a trailer for your work. You will have to have audiobook ready to go with it, probably generated by AI, so that people can enjoy it. And if you start making a little bit more buzz, then immediately translate into other languages through AI and get going there. You will be using a lot of AI assistants, to kind of keep the lore together, to fix your grammar, and and anything else that comes to mind. The big one, kind of from these things, also going to be marketing on social media and elsewhere, which is going to be a problem. Like even for us, Literary Universe, trying to figure that one out, because that is like another entire tool that we are adding, that will have to have connections to to the social media. The problem is, for example, with X, the API for posting and all that stuff is behind a very expensive expensive cost. Actually, let's check on that. Developers. There we go. And yeah, we want this XAPI. So we're starting at 200 a month, one project. We can probably start for free, but we'll have to check, because that's where we are right now. Like 500 posts and writes, and it's I don't really care about the reads by the post, but we'll have to check also how it works with other people posting on their own profiles if they log in with us. I think that's in there. So this this cost right here escalates very quickly. But at the same time, if we have so we'll have that definitely will have to be behind like a subscription gate. I think everybody else is going to also put it very quickly behind subscription, their APIs for writing, because that's where a lot of the AI slop will be coming from. And yeah, that's just that. But yeah, well, that means we have to add kind of social media and ads management. It's kind of right here. Trailers. Question is though how much is going to work, how much advertising is go to search engines and all of that stuff. That's we are kind of working on getting AI to recommend Literary Universe more. And the next step is going to, okay, how do we teach AI to recommend stories on our platform more? We do have a plan. I'm not going to necessarily reveal that, and we hope it's going to work. But it's also still a big question mark how that entire thing how that thing is going to work. But yeah, we need to add the feature to do social media posts, because that's so that we kind of fulfill the all-in-one promise for Literary Universe. It's not good. Yeah, it's a lot of potential. Let's see if Grok can figure out something more here, but it's a lot of potential issues, and we're also kind of trying to automate as much as we can on our side as well. But it's as much as the tools are advanced, they are also not so much advanced as some of people would like to claim or kind of project. All right. Let me actually check here on X just to make sure, or in my X, that I'm not missing any comments from here from you guys. No. So if you have any comments, suggestions, your own thoughts on this, I'm looking very much forward to it. Okay, we have interesting market growth and industry shifts. Conjecture traditional publishers might consolidate further with mergers. Yeah, that's to combat indie competition, but they will face revenue erosion if they don't integrate AI for content creation and personalization. Romantic Dominion could peak by 2027. I sure hope so. Giving way to grounded speculative fiction, blending real science, AI biotech, with fantasy elements appealing to broader demographics, including males. Yeah, that I think that's quite a big conjecture there. But eventually, the publishers might kind of pivot, but then we get into, will actually by that time people be able to still be literate, and given the school degradation and all that stuff. AI lowers barriers, success hinges on marketing. Indies without skills may see failure rates rise to 80%. That's yeah. That is that's significant. Kind of goes kind of to the, not so like gig economy, but I think eventually people will become more and more like their own companies. But that's getting into another thing. Another problem is that with the rise of indies, the thing with books, with radio, with TV, and kind of having everything more centralized, is that you kind of have a central national identity because everybody's gonna group around that. But the more indie stuff you have, the more. Oops, let me kind of get back here. Yeah, over here. The more indie stuff you have, the more kind of the culture in the state or in the nation becomes separated, especially over a long time, and we can probably see. And this is tough because right now the focus, or like the pressure, is towards big multicultural states and nations, because just that's how today that what you need to do a lot of the advanced stuff and to progress into space and other advanced fields. But culturally, with, and we can see here with the indie rise of the indie authors, or in general, like they're becoming more and more prominent. And this is not just here. This is happening elsewhere in the culture as well. Hollywood is no longer the big cultural center that it used to be, and it's getting worse and worse. So that has impact, and that kind of leads to this bifurcation or separation, that people kind of go more into their smaller and smaller groups. And that's why we see an increasing political conflict, because those different groups, they have nothing in common anymore, except for maybe the geographical mass that they occupy. And given how today the society is also siloed from like even their own family, and kind of how there has been a lot of push towards the individual in many cases, and Western countries, not so much in say the third world or the Eastern countries, where they are still a strong community. So I think we'll see this. Well, we see there as well, but we'll see this first in Europe, as it currently is right now, and in America, or in general, like in any more individually focused um, individually focused country, that this will become a problem with social and political cohesion. Again, stream of thought. Let's see. But yeah, a lot of indies are going to get burned. So we'll try with Little Universe to kind of help everybody out. But at the same time, there's only a limited amount of time. So we'll have to also figure out some nice methods, or whatever you want to call it, how to make sure that there is space for enough people. Or who knows, maybe we'll get universal basic income and we'll just focus on our arts. But I think that's overly utopianistic and optimistic idea. Attention spans. Sci-fi and fantasy might adapt with shorter series. Yes, that's what we kind of said. If span worsen, impact includes 20% fewer epic series, pushing writers towards multimedia. Yeah, that's going to happen anyway. Just that's kind of where we are heading. But fostering innovation in bite-sized deep lore. I'd say maybe we can see more short stories that are kind of set in the same universe. That's actually what I have plans eventually. Once kind of because what I'm writing right now is kind of the initial setup into the universe and big changes that happen there. And afterwards, I'm kind of looking forward, and maybe that's where I'm going to start. Or the benefits of sci-fi and like in large story universes. What I'm planning to do is to kind of hone my skills on stories that for example, one ship going somewhere and something happens, because then you're kind of separated from the rest of the universe and you can just focus on that small ship and what's happening on that ship. So that is definitely something that might, or that's good for getting started and kind of hone your skills, because it's limited in scale. You're not making any historical events in there, but you're focusing on the smaller stuff. So that's definitely going to happen, I think. I think Warhammer 40K is a good one, where you have a lot of the stories that are just like some local or regional conflict, and you don't even really know where in what time compared to everything else is happening, just because of how large the universe is. So that's that. AI is a evolving role in writing, literature, and world building. Let's see, future changes. AI agents could generate full movie series from book prompts, revolutionizing transmedia. That's kind of scary. 2028 to 2030, they're saying it's coming. I think that's maybe still too optimistic, but not as optimistic as like with everybody saying, "Oh, it's next year. Next year it's going to be next year," or in so many months. I think we still have a little bit to go. The question is, maybe the current approach with LLMs, all that stuff, maybe it will hit the limit there. I think we might see something like that, because I think for true AI intelligence, I think it's a bit different approach than it currently has. I think it's right now what we have is just having the appearance, but the inner workings don't really make it. And I can see it every time I try to work with with my universe and all the alien stuff with these models, and it just fails miserably because it's just outside of the scope of what it was trained on. and is not able to adapt to those things, not being able to understand and comprehend what I'm getting at. But maybe with, on the other hand, maybe with getting into these books and getting these story bibles, all that stuff, it might be able to do so, and maybe change more from that. But so far, I've seen it failing spectacular in that aspect. Wordplay genres like romanticism, I see AI authors dominate. Uh, yeah, but that will have to be the unshackled, you could say, AI for the, let's just say, more spicy stuff that's in there, and that's the essence of romanticism. But human AI hybrids will prevail for depth with ethical debates. AI memory advances could create richer, empathetic stories, but risks oversaturation. 100 times more content, diluting quality unless regulated. Sci-fi itself must evolve, incorporating AI as plot elements to stay relevant. Interesting approach, says there. Related emerging topics, transmedia, agents, and societal reflections, as I've covered here. Next gen Wattpad, where agents assist in multimodal creation, voice direct worlds. That's one way how to go get around being illiterate. You can just dictate it to the AI, potentially birthing blockbusters from amateurs by 2027. No, if anything, then I would say by 2027 it's going to start it, because it's like with movie making or stuff. Again, advances in technology can be pretty crazy, but given how this works, it takes at least a year, or like actually 2 years minimum, to really develop a movie that's like of any significance. This could amplify pure creatives, removing execution barriers and disrupting Hollywood with AI filmmaking, supercharging narratives, broader societal impacts. Sci-fi fantasy may increasingly prototype futures, AI ethics influencing real innovation, but face backlash if perceived as machine-made. By 2030, sci-fi fantasy could be a 3 to 4 billion AI augmented powerhouse, with indies leading innovation, attention adaptations, favoring hybrids, and world building transform into interactive, personalized ROMs. I think that's very optimistic to say that by 2030 for that. That's kind of a dream, and so one of the podcasts that I've listened to discusses this, that's going to be the future, where you just type in what you want, continuation, say, for example, of the latest superhero movie with these plot points, and then it will like generate it for you, just specifically for you. And then you are going to be subscribing to like people who are generating these, because they put more time and effort and quality into it. You kind of follow what they do. I think though that will be, if anything, not by 2030, but after 2030. Earlier, it's just too far from that. Challenges like ethical AI use and market flood looms, but the era promises unprecedented creativity for those who adapt. That has been the promise. That has been the promise for years, pretty much with, or like, yeah, with these things. So we'll see. I think we are still too early to really see how it's going to get. On the business side, a lot of the AI projects failed. The common excuses, oh, we are not using AI correctly, which reminds me of communist excuses. Oh, yes, that wasn't real communism, or it was not real AI usage. So we'll have to see. I am skeptical in some of these bolder projections from Grok. But I think you've learned something hopefully new, or kind of got some of your things challenge. I think most of my initial ideas as I walked them through with what the AI was suggestions were mostly proven correct. The dire estimates that I had for the future of the industry did not, or at least the AI said that was just too negative, unlikely. So that's good. I think the emphasis more on the audio and on the marketing. I've already seen, indicators, strong indicators towards that. So this was just kind of like the last confirmation I needed. I was very happy about the how long the series and art should be. That's something definitely to utilize. And yeah, I'll have to figure out how to get. Oh, let's see. We have a lot of stuff for Litter Universe, but yeah, I'll have to kind of. I'm trying to get all the entire, as much as possible, of the business to be automated by AI, or not necessarily like automated, but use AI where it makes sense and to kind of prepare stuff for me, and so that I can focus on the things that really matter or that are important for me to be there, and the rest can kind of be managed automatically and as much as possible. So that's kind of my goal there, and so that I can deliver more features. And so also then the goal with Little Universe is that as the author can spend as much as time possible being creative with all the tools that we have immediate feedback, with a lot of the assistants, and don't spend as much time on marketing, or spend a lot more time interacting with your fans, of course marketing, but hopefully to help you get kind of have marketing tools ready for you to go. And that's something that will kind of come with trial and error, but it's something that we'll have to really start focusing integrations with other things as well. So that's actually longer than I wanted to go, but that's fine. This is what it was, the stream of consciousness, the future of storytelling and world building in the age of AI. I think the biggest downside kind of looking there is that you kind of have to have everything from the very beginning if you want to have a chance in the future, which is not going to be easy. So yeah, that's another thing. We'll have to kind of add the audiobooks as soon as possible. Okay, let me know in the comments what are your thoughts on this? What are your projections? How much they differ, or if there is something big that I missed? I would love to read that, and also I would be happy to respond to that and think out everything as it might happen. So yeah, next week I'm back to coding, and then the week after that I'll be doing some world building. Maybe we'll try something with AI. I think that might be a good having in 2 weeks. I can probably prepare something on Litter Universe to make, for example, it more accessible to AI, and we'll see what we can make out of this, at least locally. So with that, thank you very much. Check out Litter Universe, where I'm kind of trying to put all of this together. You can scan the QR code to get to there, or just go to literaluniverse.com, and hopefully I'll see you there. And until next time.